One of the biggest decisions that you will make as a new creator is, what editing software do I use? Well, I've been making content for 15 years, so I thought I would break down the tools that I think are the best editing tools for new creators. Hi, I am Darren, a Writers Guild Award winning creator and producer who got her start right here on YouTube. And now I want to help creators level up your storytelling and content production so you can build a binge-worthy brand. I've been making content for 15 years, and the question that I get asked the most from creators just getting started on YouTube or any other social media platform is, what editing software do I use? With AI now, there are an abundance of tools out there, so I thought I would simplify it. I would narrow it down to 3 options, the best 3 options for new creators just getting started on YouTube, and the use cases for each one. So let's get into it. The first tool is one that I use personally. It is Davinci Resolve. Now, the biggest plus of Davinci Resolve is that there is a very robust free option. In fact, it is actually kind of crazy how much you get out of this free option of Davinci Resolve. It is a very robust tool. So this is the con, is that it is a lot, and it is a little bit harder as a new creator to adapt to Davinci Resolve because it is a very comprehensive tool. It's a professional editing tool, and there is a professional version of the tool called Davinci Resolve Studio. I actually use that version. I use the professional version, but the free version is very robust. Davinci Resolve is a little different than any other editing software in that it has several tools all wrapped into one. Davinci Resolve is broken up into what they call pages. I would kind of call them tabs because they're tabs that you navigate between, but Davinci Resolve does call them pages. They're basically each stage of the editing process broken up into its own little interface. Where you will spend most of your time is in the edit page. That's where you're going to do most of your editing. There are 2 pages before that, which is media and which is cut. I literally never use those pages or those tabs. I think probably most editors don't, but they do exist. I'm not even going to spend time talking about that because most people spend their time in the editing page on Davinci Resolve. Then there's Fusion, Color, and Fairlight. Fusion is where you can create animations and graphics. It is a scientific experiment of some sort. It is like you're in an aeronautics interface. It is very complicated, so that is not a place I would hang out if I was a beginner. Then there is Fairlight, which is the sound mixing area of Davinci Resolve. It is also a little bit like a science experiment as well. What I did, to be honest, was I watched some tutorials. I set up the basic things that I needed to set up within my Fairlight. Pretty much every video I either use those settings or I start with those settings, so there's a little bit to get it set up. And then once you've finished editing your video, you can go into the Fairlight tab and just make sure the levels are right and you don't have to do any crazy sound mixing if you are a beginner. But that being said, it is a complicated interface for someone who is just getting started editing. Then there is the color tab. The color tab is my personal hell that I live in. Color grading or color correcting really is all I'm doing, is color correcting, is very, very hard. Davinci Resolve has, I think, what is considered the best color grading interface of any tool out there. It is used in big Hollywood movies, so it has the ability to do literally anything you want to do. But because of that, it is very complicated. So as a beginner, that tab can be very, very overwhelming. And there are definitely other tools that are much simpler. The next tool is CapCut. CapCut is another free tool, so the price is right. And it was created really for creators. In fact, it was created by the company behind TikTok, which more on that in a moment. So it has a lot of really out of the box options that make it super easy to use. And it has a mobile app, it has a desktop version, and it has a browser-based version. So there's a lot of options for how you can use this tool. And it is extremely user-friendly. And additionally to being user-friendly, it has a lot of features out of the box that you can create really cool videos from, like the animations and the effects and the ability to add captions really, really easily. They're all tools that CapCut has. The big caveat with CapCut is that it is owned by ByteDance, the same company that owns TikTok. And I think you probably know where I'm going with this, where there are some complications with TikTok. Will it be banned in this country? Will it not be banned in this country? There was actually a moment where it was, and CapCut disappeared. So if that was your tool, there was a lot of panic because people lost all of their work, but also they then had to figure out another tool to use. So CapCut is a fantastic tool that is great for beginners, but there is that risk that it could go away at any moment. Not sure yet which one fits your story? Don't worry. You don't need to be a professional screenwriter, but you do need to start thinking like a showrunner. And that is why I created the Storytelling Room, a free community on the school platform where I will be sharing videos, content, interviews, but more importantly, it is a place where creators can get feedback on thumbnails and titles and their videos and their brand strategy. When I started out and I was finding my voice as a creator, I had an amazing community of web series creators, many of whom are my friends to this day, 15 years later, 10 to 15 years later. So I wanted to create a community like that for you. The conversations have been very active, so I'm very excited about it, and I hope you join. I will pop the link in my description, and I hope to see you there. The last tool that I would recommend for creators just getting started is Descript, or is it Descript? I don't know how it's pronounced, but it is a great tool if you have never edited before, and I'll tell you why. Descript centers around text-based editing. Most editing software, you can do text-based editing, but Descript, that is the backbone of it. So instead of having a timeline, which if you've never used a timeline before, that can be very confusing and overwhelming, with Descript, you basically have a text document, a transcript that gets generated automatically when you upload a video. And you can edit by just highlighting and deleting sections of that text document, just like you were working in a Google Doc. And so that is fantastic if you have no experience whatsoever with using a timeline. The other thing with Descript is it is very AI reliant. In fact, it has a suite of tools that has a very creepy name. It is called Underlord. Not great naming, in my opinion, for the fears that we have about AI, but nonetheless, it has a lot of AI tools. With the click of a button, you can have the AI fix things in your video that would have probably taken you an extensive amount of time to figure out how to do yourself. Or maybe you wouldn't even be able to do it yourself because it would be too complicated. So that is a benefit. Outside of all those bells and whistle AI tools, it is pretty simple within Descript to be able to visually edit your videos so that you can have transitions and different visual looks that make your videos look very professional. So the caveat with Descript is that it operates different than those other two tools. Both of those tools had free options. You could use them for free for pretty much everything that you need to do. And then they have a paid option as well. It technically has a free plan, so you could get started and at least just play around with it. But if you're gonna actually use it as a creator, you will have to upgrade to the paid subscription plans because I believe you can't on the free plan when you export it, there's a Descript watermark on your videos, and you can't really use that. So effectively, there really isn't a free option with Descript. You pretty much have to use the paid plans, and it's a subscription. If you're not looking to spend any money, then Descript is not going to be your tool. That being said, it does solve a lot of pain points for a new creator. There are definitely other tools out there, but those are the three that I would recommend the most for creators just getting started on YouTube, depending on what your goals are. If your goal is to eventually become a more professional editor and have a tool that is going to grow with you, then I would absolutely recommend Davinci Resolve, knowing that you are going to have an initial learning curve. If you are looking for a tool that you can just get started, but at the same time has a lot of out of the box effects and transitions and visual tools that you can use, but it's really simple, then I would say CapCut. But you're also someone that has to be a little bit of a risk taker because that tool could go away. And if you're someone who has no experience at all with editing, that using a timeline seems overwhelming, and you just want to get started in a way that feels most similar to what you do on a day-to-day basis, I would say get Descript. And if you're just getting started on YouTube, I highly recommend you check out this video. Until next time, keep creating, and I will see you soon.